Hello and welcome to the award-winning movie podcast. And we have a great episode today because the AI can finally say the word podcast, something it has been weirdly unable to do for the last few weeks. This is the podcast where we give out awards to movies for any category we can think of. And this week we are talking about the best ever 3D movie. If you joined us last week, you'll know that we had our old friend from uni on the podcast, Cameron. And he is still with us today. He just won't leave. Let's crack on. Enjoy!
Yay, I'm glad you're still here, Cameron. You have a nice voice.
Yeah. Well, I think, to be honest, Craig, I think we started in sort of circle last podcast. I think we're going to start with you. What's the best 3D movie?
I don't know yet. ChatGPT still loading. I told you I wasn't prepared for this episode. Like, you gave me 20 hours notice. Okay, hold on.
Right, 20 hours notice, but consider, Craig, that my notice for the previous podcast we did, not the one with Cameron, but the one before that, I was really sleep deprived because I've worked every day for like 2 weeks and I had no prep at all. I made up all my answers, including Jumper, on the fly. So...
You couldn't tell.
You can do it. You can do it. Yeah, you could. Yeah. No, it was obvious, but I'm saying I made it through. I
thought with this one, we're doing best 3D movie, and we all went to uni together and did film production together. And one of the modules was essentially just do any random thing you have a slight interest in.
Yeah.
And Tom, I remember that you did 3D cameras, so I thought you could share some of your findings with the fine people.
Yeah. So, I mean, mostly my findings are, because the reason I chose that as a random activity to do is because, remember when there was if you listen to this and you're like 20 years old instead of old, like we are, then you might not remember when 3D movies used to just give you these glasses where one lens was red and one lens was blue, and that was how they did the 3D. And if you took them off, you would just see like the regular movie, but also like a red version of the movie to split off to one side and a blue version of the movie split off to one. And the 3D effects from that was okay. It was fine. It was like a bit blurry around the edges and it sort of worked.
Mostly shit.
But it was mostly shit, but it like sort of worked. You got a bit of a 3D effect, but it made the whole thing so kind of blurry and low res and stuff, and all the colours weird.
It wasn't in regular movie, like 3D movies after a while became the mainstream normal movies. The 3D movies that had these glasses, I remember always being weird gimmicky stuff for 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like Spy Kids and Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Yeah. So
they were never just like The Hobbit.
No, they weren't. But this sort of leads me on to, but when they switched over to the modern style of 3D with the regular lenses, the first movie I watched with that, and this is maybe why I've got strong opinions on Avatar, is it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work. So I watch it and it should be better. And everyone's like, the 3D, it doesn't work. So I was watching it and it just kind of gives me a headache. So, and I can't see anything. It basically just means I watch a blurry version of the movie that's hard to watch and gives me a migraine. And I was like, why is this? So, and is there a version of 3D that I can watch? Because I've seen 3D. Like if I use a Nintendo 3DS, I forgot those existed until this very moment, I can see the 3D in that, the weird depth 3D, because it doesn't need any glasses. But it turns out it's something to do with the regular way that they show 3D in cinemas is that there's one projector projecting a couple of different images that are offset from each other to create the sort of depth effect. And you wear the glasses and he sort of, puts it together. That doesn't really work for me. Whereas if they show it in certain IMAX screens, they're using 2 projectors at once, overlaid on the top of each other. And then the 3D effect of the polarizing glasses sort of works for me. And so, therefore, I've only seen a movie in IMAX 3D once, and it was The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, and it's the only film I've ever seen in modern 3D. So therefore, it has to be the best one, because there can be no other choices.
I forgot that you couldn't see 3D, but I still knew that was going to be your choice.
Yeah, but it's the only one. And you know what? The movie's not that good, apart from that one bit, which did benefit from the 3D.
The bear drop.
Is the Bayonne bear drop, which is the coolest fucking thing of all time. Because I remember we watched it, we looked at each other, it happened, and we were like, ho, 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 because it's so stupid, but so great.
Were the Planet of the Apes movies in 3D? I can't remember.
They
seemed like they would have been.
I couldn't see it. I feel like they definitely were, but I didn't see them in IMAX 3D, so I wouldn't have been able to see it. So Therefore, they can't be on the list. I think what I did make is I made a list of movies that I reckon would be good in 3D if I could see them. And so I think The Godfather would be pretty good if you could see that in 3D.
Why? It's just a standard movie.
Yeah, no, but you know what I mean. But I feel like if you could see Marlon Brando's face in 3D, he's got a pretty imposing face, and therefore
It's not the best use of 3D. Just seeing Marlon Brando.
No, right. No, I do have a serious one within that. And it's related to my 3D research because part of it is choosing the size of what the viewer should be in relation to the 3D effect. So whether they get a point of view, and I've forgotten the names of these two things, where it's like a point of view that's either, and it's about how close your eyes are together.
I remember
how big you are.
I remember your presentation. Yeah. It was like mouse view or elephant view or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, mouse view or elephant view. And these things have proper names that I can't remember, but we're going to call them mouse mode and elephant mode. But I think we played around with that.
That's how far apart the eyes are, basically.
Yes, and it means that your perception of depth is entirely different based upon that. And so I was thinking that in a movie like a Jonathan Demme movie like Silence of the Lambs that plays with your perspective and has them looking right at you in the camera, like with Hannibal Lecter, I feel like that would be cool in 3D, and I'm interested in how that might look different in mouse mode versus elephant mode.
I immediately thought when you brought mouse mode and elephant mode, the best one for that, and I think this was shown in 3D. I know it was. I saw it in 3D IMAX. The first Godzilla.
Yeah.
It would give you the sense of if you felt like you were in mouse mode seeing Godzilla, it'd make him seem
then Godzilla's even bigger.
And then in the more modern Godzillas that are a bit less serious and jokey, you could have the perspective that you are Godzilla, that you're massive, and you're stomping on buildings.
And then that you were fighting Kong.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I feel like it'd be a lot more sympathy for Godzilla, because when they're around smashing town, I feel like it might come off more like they're just walking down the street and they're stepping on loads of bugs that they can't even really register as a being because they're so small. And I feel like you might get more sympathy for old Zilla's plight.
Yeah, I've not seen any of the new ones. They're not up my street. I know people like that they're more over the top and crazy. I really like the first Godzilla because, and Craig's of this opinion, I know, that they barely show any Godzilla. But I like that. It's the same with Jaws. You do less, and Jurassic Park, you show the monster less, and then when they're on screen, they're scarier, more impactful.
Yeah. I think the actual problem with that Godzilla movie is that strategy I'm all for is just that all the lead human characters are really boring and unknowable, apart from Ken Watanabe, who says let them fight, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
The arrogance of man is thinking nature is in our control, and not the other way around. Let them fight.
And apart from him, I don't remember any of the human characters. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson was in it.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston's in it, but they kill him off at the start as well.
Yeah, and he seems like he's going to be an interesting human character, but he's only in it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But so that's sort of the end of my best 3D movie list, because I've only ever seen one movie in 3D because I can't see it.
Fair enough. Cameron, what are your thoughts on 3D?
So I think I really only remember it from like the gimmick era when it was Shark Boy and Lava Girl and Spy Kids 3D. So those are actually the only I've got 3 on my list. Those are the first 2 because I literally can't think of any other movie that I've watched in 3D, except for my final pick, which is Star Wars Episode 8, because I know I definitely saw that in 3D, and I didn't like that movie. But by default, I think it wins for me.
Oh, I remember the thing with Spy Kids 3D being that the whole movie isn't 3D. It's only when they're in the video game world, or
yeah, they tell you to put them on
at the end where they say put your glasses on now and you'll see the monsters. And it's like the most gimmicky shit thing ever. That's so of that era of noughties.
Quick, put your glasses on. It's the only way you can see what's really happening. The game has entered the real world.
That has just reminded me that I did see other 3D movies, you guys, and maybe the distinction is that the Hobbit one is in 48 FPS, which I know is part of that decision was to make the 3D look better. And that made me see it, because I remember actually I saw Star Wars Episode 8 in the IMAX 3D with you guys as well. But I just don't remember any of it being 3D at any point. Like I put the glasses on and it made it not blurry, but it was just a 2D movie for me.
Yeah,
I don't remember the 3D in that. I didn't think I had seen it in 3D. But
I do. I remember it. I remember it really making the landscapes look nice, because at the start of the film you have the main female character, Rey, in a desert by herself. And I remember it really made her stick out from the desert, but it made the desert look more, like it made it look like it had a greater expanse than I think it would in 2D. And there are scenes with Kylo Ren talking to the giant hologram bad guy in the film, can't remember his name, Snoke. That was it. And I remember thinking, it's made Snoke look it's made his hologram look a little more hologrammy. I think, that's a pretty cool use of 3D. So there were definitely, yeah.
See, I couldn't see any of that.
Oh.
I think part of the reason is, so for context, I wear glasses and I've got an astigmatism in both eyes, and apparently that some combination of all those things makes it so you might struggle to see 3D. But I just couldn't see it.
Oh, I've got both those things, so I could see it.
Yeah, but I mean, and I say it's some combination of things, and it's not like everybody has that or everybody doesn't, but I just can't really see it. Like, I watch it and it's like, yeah, that's that.
This is a terrible category for you. This is like doing a podcast with a blind person saying, what's your favourite artwork? Like, it's just ridiculous. Right, I'll throw out some. I had Gravity on the list and Avatar, the original Avatar, which I don't like the movie Avatar particularly, but it does have it did pioneer 3D in a big way, and it does have some impressive 3D visual effects. I don't think you can really deny that.
Yeah.
But I've gone for my nomination of another movie. Again, people raved about Gravity and loved it. I don't particularly love Gravity, but the 3D was good. It was a pretty film.
I think the prettiest 3D I've ever seen. I saw Gravity in the cinema, and I remember thinking, it makes Sandra Bullock floating in space look a little more floaty. But I don't remember being wowed by the 3D in that, to be honest.
I can only really remember the opening sequence with the satellite smashes into a billion pieces. That's the only bit I can really remember from that. And that was impressive in cinema. Yeah.
I've only just remembered that right now as you've mentioned it.
Mission abort. Repeat. Mission abort. Initiate emergency disconnect from Hubble. Begin re-entry procedure. ISS initiate emergency evacuation.
Copy all Houston ended work.
Telecommunication systems are dead. Expected communications blackout at any moment.
Kowalski visual of debris at 9 o'clock.
Half of North America just lost their Facebook.
Explore.
Yeah, that was good. I'd say Life of Pi had some pretty cool 3D, if memory serves. Don't think it added anything to the story, though. It was just there because it was 2010s and everyone was shoving 3D into films to make more money.
Yeah, do you think is 3D over?
I think it's sort of over. I don't think, do they still do movies in 3D? I feel like
I think the odd one, like your Avatars might and stuff.
In the nicest possible way, 3D is only over when James Cameron stops making films. That's when it's over, because James Cameron is solely keeping it alive, I feel like, at this point, and shoving it in people's
but I feel like in terms of like the format gimmicks and stuff, like IMAX is the biggest one at the moment. It's like, and I think people will pay for it because like, bigger screen. Whereas like 3D, it doesn't feel like a thing that people are paying for now. It's like that sort of, the initial buzz of it really wore off, and then it was like, I think because we only saw them say the new Star Wars in IMAX 3D at that time, even that was like a while ago now, is because it's like, that was, if you wanted to see it in IMAX, that was the only way. It was like they weren't doing 2D IMAX showings, whereas now they do 2D IMAX showings all the time.
It used to be a thing of every single movie was made 3D.
It brings up an interesting thing about like gimmicks for the movie theaters, because back in the day it was, you could watch a movie in 3D. That was a big gimmick. And then IMAX was a big gimmick. And now because, COVID wiped out a lot of that sort of stuff. And then I guess it's now, everyone's doing this sort of, you got to watch this movie in the cinema, not just at home on your phone.
Yeah, but to an extent, that's always been a thing, because they've always been trying to search for a reason to get people in, as in like creating new movie formats. Even the old days, like when they invented widescreen, part of the reason they did that is that it looked like shit on home televisions. Or like the reason they pushed it, like it was invented before that, but the reason they pushed it was because they were like, you have to see it in the cinema, because at home you're going to see a thin sliver of Lawrence of Arabia that's just not going to make sense. That was before home video, but you know what I mean? But like that's the idea. There's a Family Guy joke about it, which is why I thought of Lawrence of Arabia.
And now our feature presentation, Lawrence of Arabia, presented in its original Ultra CinemaScope letterbox format.
Well, I can't see anything.
Who's the rather attractive girl on the camel?
That's Peter O'Toole.
My best 3D film, I'm going to say Dredd, purely because, I don't know, have you all seen it?
Yeah, the Carl Urban one.
Yeah, you all seen Dredd? Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
No.
Oh, well, it was like, I feel the action sequences in it were very much designed for 3D, and I think it deserves a special mention amongst the stuff Tom was talking about as a way to get people in the cinema, because I think it actually hurt that film. because it was a film that went on to be quite well loved by fans, I think, but not many people saw it in the cinema because, as Tom mentioned, with widescreen, they released it as not Dread, but Dread 3D, and they insisted that people had to see it in 3D. There was no 2D version available, and people just didn't see it on pure principle, and that resulted in the film bombing, even though people actually, it got quite popular on home release. It's something that I think it's a film that actually made them rethink 3D a little bit.
This is Judge Dredd. This block operates under the same rules as the rest of the city. Mama is not the law. I am the law. And as for you, Mama, judgment time.
Oh, it's really interesting. I didn't know that it had a 3D only release because I knew that it sort of flops, but then getting this cool following, but I didn't really know that was related to why.
I'm pretty sure,
it sort of makes sense, doesn't it? Because it's sort of like you can only see something with this paid uplift. Like, I think, especially because that's a little bit too far out from the first Avatar. It's like that trend's sort of over. It's like I saw the first Avatar in 3D because it was like, I didn't care about the movie. It didn't really look particularly interesting to me, but it's like, oh, it's in 3D and everybody's seeing it because it's 3D. And it was like a whole thing, but then it's like a few years down the road from that, you're like, oh, this just means I have to pay more.
And you're kind of over the gimmick.
Extra for a set of glasses. Yeah, I'm over the gimmick. I've got to pay extra for this set of glasses that just get thrown in the bin.
My issue with the glasses is that they're slightly tinted, slightly sunglassy, like darker. And I swear to God, they don't up the brightness of the movie. So it feels like you're watching a darker movie than it should be. They don't compensate for the fact you're going to be wearing glasses. I could be imagining that.
Yeah, I don't know if they grade them differently in the DCP. Like they said that the DCP of the 3D movie is graded brighter to account for that. But they can't make the projector brighter, which is a thing. And yeah, the polarizing lenses in each one do function kind of like sunglasses.
Yeah, whenever I watch a 3D movie, I've always gone, this is too dark. They need to compensate for the darkness of the glasses. And maybe they do, and it's just in my head. But to me, it always seems darker than it should be.
Yeah, I think maybe the conclusion we're coming to is that 3D is it's just not that great, is it?
But that said, even if none of us are a fan of 3D, we have to decide the best 3D movie.
I think, like, are we focusing on gimmick 3D, or are we just going to say, like, any movie that has been made that is, like, I think Avatar kind of wins by just sort of the new era of 3D, doesn't it?
I kind of like Tom's idea of just nominating a movie that isn't 3D. It should be 3D. It just was 3D.
Yeah, and I think Silence of the Lambs would be fucking sick in 3D.
You know what would have been sick in 3D, actually? Do you remember there was a famous French film way back when cinema was first starting out? Like, it was a brand new thing, and there was a famous piece of footage that got projected to a screen, and it was of a train arriving at a station. And legend has it, like a lot of...
Craig. Was that French? I thought that was The Great Train Robbery.
I think it was called The Arrival of a Train at Les.
Yeah, because it's not a full movie. It's literally just one shot of an arrival at train at station. Is it Lumiere brothers?
Probably.
Yeah, I think it was. And it was just them experimenting. But the myth, wasn't it, that the audience like ran away in terror because they thought the train was going to come out the screen? Apparently, that wasn't true. But imagine that film in 3D at the time. They probably would have shot themselves.
It's funny that you say this, Craig. It's funny that you say this because Martin Scorsese already had that idea, because part of the film Hugo in 3D is that it plays that clip, but it plays a version of that clip. I don't know if it's the archival version digitally altered or if it's a recreation of that in 3D to try and produce the same effect, and it's exactly for that reason. It's still like, oh, does the 3D thing give you that impression that it's going to come out of the screen and run you over? And that's part of Hugo.
Craig and Scorsese are just right on the same wavelength.
They are. It's just Craig's like 10 years too late to it, but it's fine.
I forgot Hugo was... Why was Hugo in 3D? I forgot that was a thing.
His whole thing was that it was in 3D.
But why? Why make Hugo in 3D?
I saw it in 2D, to be clear.
But with Hugo, there's better films. Scorsese. What's Scorsese's filmography? What would have been his best film in 3D?
I was going to mention Goodfellas does the Great Train Robbery thing, where the guy points a gun at the screen and shoots it. It was to scare audiences in The Great Train Robbery. And Scorsese recreates that in Goodfellas with Joe Pesci shooting the screen in the exact same shot.
He does. But in Goodfellas, it feels like it's sort of just for fun. I'm not trying to denigrate the art of Martin Scorsese there, but it does...
it is just for fun.
It does feel like he's like, yeah, Joe Pesci at the end. That'll be fun. Good reference.
Because basically in the Great Train Robbery, they commit this great robbery, and then at the end the police get them all, and somebody in the last shot fires a gun right into the camera. That's why I have Joe Pesci firing the gun at the end into the camera of Goodfellas, in the sense that basically in Goodfellas, it's a bunch of outlaws who do this incredible robbery, and then they all kill each other, and the police get them at the end. It's exactly the same story.
Did they make Nolan films in 3D, or is he too against 3D? I don't know if was there a possibility of seeing The Dark Knight in 3D? Obviously, it wasn't filmed like that, but did they put out a version of?
I don't think so. Not The Dark Knight now.
Yeah.
I just found a thing from 11 years ago saying Chris Nolan won't shoot in 3D because he believes the format takes away from the shared cinematic experience. I don't really know what he means, but that's what he said.
That's a Chris Nolan thing to say.
Okay, so 3D films were basically a gimmick to get people back in the cinemas because you can see it on a big screen, but it's very hard to see it on a small screen.
I think they do just like gimmicks. It's like one they're trying to push at the moment is like it's been shot in VistaVision, and it's like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Like, I know what it means, but to your average person, what the fuck does that mean? It doesn't get shown any differently whether it's shot in VistaVision or not. They were trying to push this thing like 28 years later about it being shot on iPhones, and it's like, when you actually watch it, it's like there's certain things that they've done that are only possible because they shot in using lots of smaller cameras. But it's not like a selling point or anything, and it's not for the same reasons that they shot the original on like camcorders, where it was supposed to look like really rough and like found footage sort of like home movie sort of shit. Because the cameras just look too good. Like, it's only an iPhone, but it looks too good. Like, if you went in not knowing that, you wouldn't be like, oh, this is fucking crappy iPhone shit. You just assume they're shot with normal cameras.
It just feels like it defeats the purpose a little bit. Like,
no, it has a purpose.
But you look at behind the scenes images of that, Tom, and you just see these iPhones hooked up to the most insanely over the top expensive rigs that no normal iPhone filmmaker could use. And you think at that point, does it become redundant?
Not really, because they aren't using that for most of the film. Like, a lot of the time it's shot on like more consumer tech, and they do use it for other stuff. Like, if you've seen it, they do like this kind of new bullet time effect where they've made a circular rig entirely out of iPhones and done a bullet time thing with that. Kind of like bullet time, it's kind of different. It moves more than that and in a different way. And the reason they use the iPhone there without any extra big lens attachments is because it's just a lot cheaper to do that with iPhones, and you can get more cameras in the circle to do it.
Oh, okay.
So it's not redundant entirely. It makes sense as a decision. And I think the other reason as well is that it's like cheaper and more economical to do like drone shots and stuff. And something else he said that I don't know how true this is, but this is straight from Danny Boyle, is that it's supposed to look like a post-apocalypse. And if you want to bring in like a big techno crane or a big like sort of dolly rig or whatever to use in a place that's not supposed to have had humans in it for a really long time, then you just left a load of footsteps and track marks and all this other shit that you've got to shoot around.
Yeah, it's just more convenient.
And if you want freedom to shoot it, if you want freedom to shoot in any direction, you having a really small footprint that doesn't require tons and tons of crew or crew vehicles especially, then it means that you can shoot in this environment like in a kind of free way. It suits his style of shooting more, which is more like inventive and sort of the moment. So instead of being like, oh, he's strictly storyboarded, which I'm sure he does do storyboard and all the rest of it, but like having this sort of like camera angle sort of improv and freedom.
Oh, right. That's quite interesting.
To shoot around that, it gives you that choice. So even though it's like, as a format, it's like, you don't see like 28 days later, like that it looks crappy. Even though you don't get that part of it, it adds something to the film in that he can make it and shoot it in a way that's more improv, more like, say, on the spot. And you get that in the film. I'd say I highly recommend it. The final epilogue scene of it is fucking insane, but I highly recommend the movie. It's fucking fantastic.
I've heard it's got an insane ending.
Wonderful shot. It's real poetry. Though, I think there's a few too many coming now. Even for a fine young warrior like yourself. Would you mind if we stepped in? It would be our pleasure.
I side with digital in the argument of digital versus film. You might get a different quality of image, but the actual shot you're getting, what you're filming, can be better. Like 28 days later, they couldn't have made that on film. The reason they shot it on cheap camcorders was because digital was just starting to become a thing, and they could get 50 of them at once to shoot London abandoned, and that's how they got that. With film, that would have made the budget of the film $400 million in order to get those shots on film.
Yeah, because they had they had a short period of closed time, didn't they?
Yeah.
With especially stuff that's like the bridge in London. I forgot which bridge it is. I'm not a London geography expert. Not that it's an expert thing, but like that, like the bridge shot and stuff, it's like you got a limited period of time to get that, and you need a certain amount of camera angles. It's like,
yeah, that's why digital's great, because you can get the better shot. It doesn't matter about like if it's film or digital. You can, what is being filmed is more important to me. But this is nothing to do with 3D.
I was about to say we've gone way off topic. Guys, what's the best 3D film ever, and what deserves the award?
I'm judging my criteria, but not based off like the best film of it, but like the best use of 3D, or the one that if you had to show off 3D tech to someone, I'd go, check this out. This is a great 3D. So that's why I'm going with Gravity. It's film native 3D. It uses the depth and throws stuff at you, but without being too gimmicky and going, look, my hand's coming out of the screen. It does do that a bit, which is always annoying. But I think that film does the balance the best, and it uses the tech the best.
Can I throw some at Rogan here? Because I haven't seen it in 3D, but I know that it's in 3D. I bet Coraline is really good in 3D because it has the animation stop motion sort of like almost like it's similar enough to like a pop-up book that I can imagine that in 3D. Was that originally in 3D or did they re-release it in 3D? I can't remember because there was a re-release of it.
I think it was originally in 3D. I think I saw it in 3D.
But I think, was it in old crappy 3D and they made it into new 3D?
No. It was in good non-red and blue glasses 3D.
But I bet that's well good in 3D because that's a really great movie. It's too terrifying to be a kids movie.
Yeah, it is terrifying.
But it's terrifying if you're an adult. But I reckon that's really good in 3D.
You know I love you.
You have a very funny way of showing it.
So, where are they? The ghost eyes.
You can't just go and rewatch these movies to assess how good the 3D is. So making this list was hard. You're just doing it purely off memory.
Yeah, it's only on vibes and memory, and therefore I feel like you can still choose one that you can just sort of show what's good in 3D.
So we've got 4 nominations. Cameron's going with Star Wars, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'll go with like all of it, all of Star Wars in 3D, because I think they did a good job of putting them.
Oh, that's a terrible shout. You just lost all backing because if you're doing that, then you're including Episode 9. And
oh, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
And that can't be the best anything.
Yeah, it might be one of the worst movies of all time.
My pick is Star Wars, but only the bits I like. Then
I thought you would be the one to snuff it out. Alas, you're no Vader. You're just a child in a mask.
It's funny then, we've got 4 nominations for Best 3D and none of them are from James Cameron. So he's going to come find us. He's going to be very angry at us.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, James. Sorry. James Cameron had this thing when Oppenheimer came out and he was like, Nolan is a coward for not showing the bombings, which... Anyway, you can get into the ethics or whatever of that. But, so he wants to make this Hiroshima movie that actually, that he said, and this is a quote from the other day, which is like, he's going to show it in as much detail as possible so that you get the experience. And it's like, okay, that means that it's probably in 3D, knowing old James. And is that not more disrespectful?
That's what I was going to say. Maybe no one didn't include it because it would be people going, oh, cool, look at the effects on that. And it'd be like fetishizing an atomic bombing of killing millions. But James Cameron's going to do just that.
Yeah, and then it's sort of like one of the, like a really horrible thing that happened and being like, yeah, but if you see it in IMAX VistaVision 3D and with 4D Smell-O-Vision, it's like, then you'll get the full extent of the horror. And it's like, is that not a bit fucked up though, James?
How are we going? Is anyone thinking of changing their vote then? Because we've got 4 nominations and we all seem pretty resolute on them.
I'd back Gravity. I think that's, you made a good argument for it.
Yeah. Tom has to stick with 5 Armies because it's the only 3D he's ever seen.
It's the only one I've seen. It's the only 3D I've ever seen.
Okay, if you discount the 3D-ness, what's a better movie? Gravity, The Hobbit, Battle of the 5 Armies, or Dredd?
Well, I don't like Gravity that much. It's fine. It's an okay movie.
That's essentially my opinion. Yeah,
bit self-important, I find.
It insists upon itself.
It insists upon itself,
which is the worst movie criticism of all time. But
I go Dredd as the best movie out of them, but I'm still going Gravity because I've got Cameron on my side. I can win this. I can lock this up. I shouldn't have even asked. I shouldn't have even brought up the question, to be honest.
Remember, I'm still 2 points. I'm still 2 points because I'm the guest.
Yeah, he gets his 2 points, or his half points. We haven't decided.
Oh, sure.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm calling it. I'm calling it before people get swayed and it all goes wrong. The best 3D movie of all time is Gravity.
Yay. Someone insert some claps. Hooray.
I'll admit one thing. Can't beat the view. So what do you like about being up here?
The silence. I could get used to it.
What do you reckon is a good movie that could be 3D that isn't like Godfather? I mean, Godfather's an insane choice to me, but...
Yeah, no, I just said that for the shitpost. Silence of the Lambs was a real choice, though.
So you've gone for ones that aren't like gimmicky, like just good movies. I'm trying to think of one that's really...
Yeah, but I think that one could have a good gimmick because he stares down the lens, you know?
No, you know what? I think we should
true.
return to the roots of weird 3D, and that there should be what would be the best moment in any movie where you have to put on your 3D glasses. So the movie is interrupted, whether maybe the characters stop doing what they're doing, and the actor then turns to you and goes, "You should put on your 3D glasses now."
It would probably be really sick in The Matrix if whenever they enter The Matrix, you put glasses on.
Ooh.
And then it's only 3D then.
What about Jurassic Park for the dinosaurs?
Yeah, I think they did do a 3D release of Jurassic Park.
I thought Jurassic Park did have a 3D release. Yeah, I thought it did.
2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a joke of just saying a sex scene. Oh, the scene in Barbarella where she gets in the sex piano.
I think isn't it the Orgasmatron?
Yeah. Wait, was Kingsman in 3D?
It probably had a 3D release.
The scene where Colin Firth kills all the Westboro Baptist Church people. That'd be sick in 3D.
Podcast. The award-winning movie.